morning and welcome to Startup Grid Summit this morning. My name is Kenneth Nyaga and I am the Startup Grid Embu Chapter Director based in Kenya. So Embu is in the Mount Kenya region of Kenya, and it's a place with very exciting entrepreneurs, especially those who mostly are farmers. So it's very exciting. It's our first event that we are holding today on 30th of April 2021. So we are joined together with many visitors, and right now I'm broadcasting both from Google Meet. We are also streaming live on Facebook on our Startup Grid Embu chapter on Facebook page. And this morning we're having a very impactful guest who is going to speak to us on marketing, so that we are able to understand how we can still achieve results amidst COVID-19 pandemic. And the lady that I'm bringing to you today, her name is Remy, who is our chief guest to speak to us on sales and marketing. So of course, you know about Startup Grid, like we've met before. It's all about networking with entrepreneurs. It's the largest right now community of entrepreneurs from all over the world. And I want to do a brief introduction on what Startup Grid is all about. Then I can bring on board our guests and we'll be able to take it up from there. So just hold on for a moment. I do you some introductions that you may be able to see what happens on Startup Grid. And I know it's going to really be a very exciting time to learn new tips courtesy of Startup Grid today. So thank you so much, and hold a minute. I'll be back shortly.
At one point, I really realized I want to be surrounded by people who really want to change something. Entrepreneurs, community builders, people who really want to move something around.
It's truly an amazing experience. For me, it was really a good entry point to enter the startup world. So my background is in finance and investing. I went to the Europe conference in London and then attended my first global conference last year and this year again. I met so many interesting people. If you have any hesitations, you truly need to get connected in your local chapter.
Basically what we do is try to reach for the best speaker possible that will allow founders to learn. You have to meet a lot of people and you have to create a real connection with those people, focusing on adding value to their lives, but also in learning and helping them in every way you can and to scale faster.
Startup Grind gave me the opportunity to really achieve that. So now I'm running one of the most active chapters in China and in the world. And I am on a daily basis meeting so amazing people, entrepreneurs, investors, corporates. I'm really grateful being part of this amazing community.
San Francisco,
Lagos,
New York City,
Dubai,
Dublin,
Oakland,
China.
Startup Grid is really an exciting place. This is a place of your dream as an entrepreneur. You happen to make lots of friends. You happen to, network, and it's a place that you can really grow and learn new tips that are going to improve and make you a better entrepreneur all over the world. Now, I want to bring on the stage our guest today. Her name is Remy, and Remy is God-fearing. She's very industrious, diligent, and hardworking, who has a very good attitude. And she's very good in problem solving, and she believes in working under minimal or no supervision. So therefore, the guest that I'm bringing to you today is really a very impactful guest who has made great achievements when it comes to sales and marketing, having worked with big companies like SC Johnson's, Unilever, and many other companies as a private consultant on sales and marketing. She has always achieved wherever she has gone. So I want to bring her on board right now so that she can take over for the next 30 minutes or so. She'll be able to help us to understand a lot on how we can achieve profitable business growth amidst COVID-19 pandemic. She's very powerful when it comes to sales and marketing. And I want you to be very ready and prepared with your pen, your notebook, or maybe if you are recording, because this session is going to be very impactful. So we all honor, I want to welcome our guests and none other than Remy Caro to come and speak to us. You're so much welcome, Remy. Thank you so much.
I think, Pastor, you've done a lot of introduction, and I'm usually a person who likes honoring people's time. I can see it's 10:30. So what I would love to know is anyone with a question about me, so that we can maybe start from there? And then the other thing is, when we are working from home, sorry, my laptop had to be repaired, so I'm using my phone. I hope you can see me well. Please, could I get feedback if you can see me well? All right. So guys, just a brief introduction about myself. I've done research, development, sales, customer marketing, category operations, and I know some of those are very new to many people, but basically it's sales and marketing, but different parts of sales and marketing. So I didn't, because of my lack of my laptop, I didn't manage to do a presentation, but I've already done the pointers I want to discuss with us. What I will do, and I will promise I will do when I get my laptop, or I get a laptop, let's say within the next 2 weeks, I will do the presentation and I'll share it with Pastor Ken, and he'll share it with everyone else. Is that okay? Yeah. Yes, I will. I will keep my word. Okay. So now, the first thing about any sales and marketing, and especially us guys who are doing startup, the first thing is you need to understand yourself. Okay. So whenever I enter into any role, the first thing I do is to, because I already did this test, do the personality test. The personality test for yourself and for the people around you. It helps you understand your temperament and helps you understand what you struggle with, so that you can look for people who will help you achieve what you need to achieve. Before you set your goals, guys, I know we are told the first thing is to set goals. The first thing is understand yourself. Why do I insist on that? It's because, like, for example, I'm a choleric and a melancholy, and I'm an INTJ according to the personality test. I will share the link so that you can do the test. Now, with that, I've been able to understand what am I able to do and what am I able to achieve and what am I not able to achieve. There is one thing I've noticed about startups and about organizations, that we do not care for the operations. Operations and administrations are costly, they are annoying, and that's why I told you to understand the personalities of those who are surrounding you and your personality. For example, when I'm doing any job, I always try to look for someone who's phlegmatic around me. I know I do not like work that is administrative and operational and all the time, because I like closing projects and moving to the next one. So a phlegmatic kind of person, what they do is they try and ground me. They remind me, and that's why I give them things like a chat to continue, because phlegmatics are people who are continuous. They do administrative work. They are people oriented, and that's you. When you learn yourself, then you're able to know, who do I need in my team. The other pointer is, do not allow distractions and digression. And those are it ties into the little foxes. So many times when we're working, so many times when we're in our business, we allow bitterness, anger, customers, frustration to derode our day. Remember, there's a concept my previous boss gave me. There's a time I used to do okoa jahazi, and he told me, when you do okoa jahazi and you lose, let's say 10 shillings, 10 shillings doesn't look a lot in a day. But that 10 shilling, when you multiply it by that, it's 300. When you multiply it by 12 months, do the maths, guy. Now it starts making sense. And it's the same thing with distractions and digressions. When you allow them, guys, what they do, they erode you. They don't look like they're big right now, but they become mountains later. It's the same thing when you ignore your administration, like that thing of keying in that figure in the computer, writing in your books every day. I have books of when I started work. Every little detail matters to me. Every morning I read little. I check what I did yesterday and what I didn't do, and then I cross and I move the next. And whatever I didn't do yesterday will be my number one in my list. And then I read the other three. Then one of the things I always do, it's either the last one to sleep in my. That's why I said understanding yourself is very important, because every time I have bosses, I tell them, guys, or even people I'm working with, guys, I'm a nighttime person, and so they're able to adapt to you. And there's nothing wrong with you saying what kind of a person you are, so that people will always adapt. But we have this thing of, oh, I have to adapt to people. But it's adapt to people to a certain degree, and then don't be ashamed to receive help. I had divided my conversation into 4 parts. I had divided into principles of seed time and harvest, and then I'll talk now about sales after this, and then I'll go into the marketing, and then I'll go to the COVID era. Those are the 4 parts I'll talk about today. Anybody with a question? So that I can go now to sales. Anybody? Okay, it's a conversation. I'm feeling like I don't want to feel like I'm preaching. So could I know what you think before I go to the next topic, kindly? You can type, you can say something. Pastor Ken, anybody? All right, should I continue? Oh, all right, okay. So then we will go to sales. So the first thing about sales is be willing to learn. What do I mean about be willing to learn? The person who taught me sales was a distributor who we worked with. The guy we will have no sales. He will go into the market and come back with sales, and he's the one who taught me. We don't be annoyed. Just learn. Even sometimes I talk to my daughter and she tells me, "Why don't you think 1, 2, 3?" And it makes sense. So be willing to learn. So our learning is 70% on the job, 20% from mentor coaches. Always have mentor coaches, and 10% go from formal institutions. I remember there's a time I didn't pass an interview because I hadn't done school for like 2, 3 years. That's what made me want to go to school all the time. The second thing about sales is understand the role in sales, and understand product. So why do I insist that you have to understand your role? Many people, because in startup you're doing everything. I think that's a very critical point. That's why for me, you can't be alone. You can't be a lone ranger. But it also depends on the need. But you also have to put in different hats. So understand the role of sales. And sales is not moving products from one warehouse to another one. If, for example, it's not moving products from company or my house or from wherever I'm sourcing them and putting them in other people's market, in other people's warehouse. Sales is bigger than that, and I'll delve into that. And understand the product that you're selling. If you do not, you remember, you cannot give what you don't have. You cannot sell from an empty jug. You cannot get from water from empty tap. So you have to, if it's not clear to you, it will not be clear to you, the people you're selling to. That is a given. So always understand your product or service. the product, the vision of the product has to make sense to you and to your employees. Remember, your employees are your biggest brand ambassadors. So every time you have any product, you have to ensure that you train your family, train your people, train even yourself included. I have met with startup people or many salespeople and they do not even know what they sell. They just go, I have this offer. Please remember, offers are not sales, they're part of sales. So if your brand is always relying on offers to sell, trust me, it will not, the longevity of that product is will be very shallow because it doesn't have deep roots. I think you've seen some brands where, sorry about that, some brands where they do not advertise but they still sell. It's because they've done the job. And then people management. This is very key in sales. Remember, sales is about people. I am a melancholy and a choleric. I prefer, I wake up at can tell you, I prefer to be at home. But I can assure you, one of the things I do is whenever I'm going out, I wear the hat of not talking and I can talk, but not just talking. Just ask yourself, why are you talking? When you're doing any product evaluation, always ask yourself, what, when, how, and another 3 to 5 whys. Why is very critical. Why is the one that determines how long you'll be in the market. Why are you selling? What you're selling? Why do they have to buy your product? Why do they need your product? And that's why the why is very critical, and that's why they have to be 3. If you can't beat 3 whys, take your time. Okay, and then people manage stakeholders. Your stakeholders are your suppliers. Your stakeholders are your customers. Your stakeholders are your employees. You need the people you work with, or the people you and stakeholders are different, and I will send you a matrix of how you can identify. There are those who are important, there are those who are necessary, there are those who are not necessary, and those ones you do away with. But management of stakeholders is very key in sales. For example, if I'm selling to a retail store, for example, a retail store called Nyakenywa. Nyakenywa is my stakeholder to some aspects. But if Larry, for example, is my employee, that's also still my stakeholders. And the way I treat Larry and the way I treat Nyakenywa are very different. So that's why management of stakeholders, understanding their personality and temperament is very key. And then the other aspect in sales is know your customer and always solve issues as come. Don't be egoistic not to listen. Sometimes we are always like, huyu customer ananisumbua sana. Trust me, those are the little foxes I was addressing. Know your customer, understand your target market. If you cannot, there is a place where prices may not be high, maybe it's your target market that's wrong. True. Why do I say this? There are products people struggling with. For example, when we were doing marketing strategy for geostats, who are our target markets. And one of the things that we look at, I looked at one point and gave me a very big hint, is the teenagers. So, and I saw this, the teenagers and the upcoming teenagers. So when you talk into yes, moment. My friends, my daughter can be with her friends in a party. I mean, they're around 10 years, and they are a game that they play called Roblox, and it's very big business right now. And I can another one called Scrabble, and I'm from different in the same place, maybe in the same house, but they're playing a game, and it's supposed to be a party, but they're all silent. So guys, those are the kind of, if you're focusing on those guys and you put an ad on TV, already how effective is that? Know your customer, know your target market. Understanding your target market will guide you in which strategy and to market. When I say route to market means if I need to move my product from point A to B, from and some routes are very efficient, like e-commerce. I buy the product, I take it to Jumia, and they sell for me. That's where we're going. We're headed to. Facebook is also a form of e-commerce, but there is route to market where I need to promote products because Kenya is such a hybrid society. There is old traditional. You will move the products from here to Nakuru. That's route to market, maybe wholesaler, and then after that, go to you now be able to sell maybe to another supermarket. It is so you need to identify your route to market. It's very critical, and that builds your strategy. In sales, you have to have a strategy, and then in terms of know your customer is very key. Many people move goods from one warehouse to the other one, like from the supplier or distributor to the wholesaler. That's our warehouse to the other one. A sale is not a sale until the shopper picks it. So there is the customer is your distributor or yourself. There is the consumer is the person who takes your product. So what's the difference between the shopper and the consumer? I want to ask a question right now. If please somebody answer this even if it's chat. I usually buy Blue Band in my house. I do not take Blue Band. I hate Blue Band. I do not take Blue Band. But the people who consume are my kids. That's the consumer. Who's the shopper? Somebody? Who's the shopper? Look, somebody please. I only have like 20 minutes and I have a lot to go. Please. Okay. Wow. Okay. Yes, the shopper is the mother. No, not me, Lydia, but you're right. The shopper is the mother. Okay. For many of the women who buy, yes, thank you, Lydia, so much. Many of the people, like mothers, most of the mothers are shoppers. Most of the fathers sometimes are shoppers. For example, my household, my son loves oranges. My daughter loves watermelon. I love pineapples. So either way, when I buy fruits, I will have to do a hybrid, like a total basket of all that, plus other fruits that you need. So I may not eat the oranges. My son will eat the oranges. He's the consumer and the shopper. Okay, and that's why it's important to and your consumer, because your consumer influences the shopper significantly. So when you're buying, selling something, okay, then I'll be willing to learn from competition. I know many of us are never taught this, but in sales you have to use, and marketing you have to use your competitor product. You have to understand what your competition is, because if you don't use your competition, if you don't buy from your competition, you will never understand what they do better than you. You will think you're in this. Here, it's because they thought they were the best in the market at that point, and it's a great lesson. Always use, understand competition and use your competitor product, and honor your periods. Okay, honor your periods, because they are the ones who direct you. Honor is very important. Whenever you honor, they take you to greater levels. Have boardroom conversations. Board conversations. Have people. Everywhere I have worked, I've always looked for people who I deem are higher than me. I don't tell them that. Please, it has to be with a lot of wisdom. And we form a group. I always engineer to form a group. And we will always have like a meeting once, even amongst my friends, once a week. Some of my friends, we have a meeting once a week, and we ask ourselves the hard questions. Please have boardroom conversations, because boardroom conversations help you understand what are you missing among even yourself, with yourself. Even as a startup business, have friends who are good in finances, friends who are good in marketing, friends who are good in engineering, it's an engineering product, friends who are good in sourcing. Why and have boardroom conversations and let them ask you the tough questions. Even at work, let them ask you the tough questions. Why is that important? It's because you are not be comfortable, but comfortable. Have people you can trust. The last one is teach others. In sales, you have to teach others because you're giving back. You can't have a jug full. When you have the jug full, you will become still. You can't drink from that water. So empty yourself to other people. And then they'll know this as an employee and as a business partner. Not everyone is your friend. Okay? And like a lesson, don't beat up yourself. It brings about depression, and depression makes you miss out on that. And about sales, it's about meeting people, talking to people. And something I had to write, I always employ the 80-20 rule. Where I go in terms of my 80-20, and that's what I meant by stakeholder. It's under stakeholder management. 80-20 rule means look at the 20% that gives you 80%. Focus on that, and those are the low-lying fruits. The people who you will sell to, and do learn to do what we call joint business plan with them. So, for example, if there's fruit those are the people you should always actually when they come, you ask them like two. For example, let me take Dragon and Nyakinywa. So Jamal is always buying fruits from me. Nyakinywa comes once in a while. The person who I will focus on and ensure that they are well treated and all that is Jamal. Why? Nyakinywa may come once in a while and I all the fruit, but Jamal ensures my stability and consistency. So the 80-20, the 20% ensure that you have consistency. Okay? Anyone with a question so far? We are almost finished. We have two more parts. Anyone with a question, please? Feel free to ask. Okay. I'm not seeing anyone ask questions unless I'm not giving. Let me give people 1 minute to write the questions about sales, about kingdom. Okay, cool. Thank you, Nyakinywa. I'd forgotten I can leave them to you. That's fine. So now we can go to marketing. I will ask a question. Between sales and marketing, which is the heart of the business? Anybody? So I will always say Kenneth Nyaga sales. Okay? So the heart of the business is marketing. Why? It's not sales. People do sales. You do sales because people know your product. So the heart of the business, the one who organizes the profit and loss, is actually the marketing. It's not sales. Remember, I told you, a product is not a sale is not a sale until it's picked from the shelf by the shopper. That is the sale. Why and when will they buy? Will only buy products that they know you, or products that they've been influenced to buy. Customer management and stakeholders management. Ariel came into the market. Omoni was the biggest brand, but what Ariel did different was to go to the same wholesalers, customers, and ensure that they have good joint business plan with customers and good deals with customers. They would influence the sales. The customers would influence the salespeople, the purchasers. Okay, so there's influence at the shop, and that's now what we call customer marketing. That's why you have to do joint business. Okay, so marketing is the heart of the business because that's where you evaluate your profit and loss. That's why you look for the margins for your products. That's the heart of the business because a consumer will not buy you just because they've seen in the shop. They have to know who you are, why you're there, what will you do for me, what's in it for me, and that's why is marketing important? Because it ensures that there's mental availability. Mental availability means by the time I leave home, which is the shopper path to purchase. Shopper path to purchase and going to buy that. I've already strategized myself. I have to buy Blue Band for my kids because my kids told me to buy. And that's why marketing is so important because the kids will have been advertised to or be made to know, or that into availability in my mind is been stuck by my kids, but in my kids is stuck through activities in school, which is marketing. So market is your heart of the business because it ensures mental availability. Let me ask you, if you don't agree with me, have you ever gone to a shop and you don't find a brand that you like, you move, you don't even go, you don't even buy. So that tells you why marketing is very, if people don't know you, they won't pick you. Okay? And then always have a long-term, medium-term, short-term strategy for both market is long-term because it's about consumer knowledge of the brand and product positioning in the minds of the people. And then develop that strategy for both. And then depending on your target market, because that's where in other marketing is where you look at target market, budgets and brand decide which channels to use. So when I talk of channels, people think marketing is on the TV, marketing is on there's the below the line and above the line. So when we say above the line is traditional media and digital now landscape. So above the line is where you utilize money for someone else to advertise for you. And what I've seen with small businesses is that they are not willing to get agencies that have this knowledge. Have a consultant. As a small business, have a consultant. And like I said, it's not wrong to ask. You don't know. We are focused so much onto profits and loss. We are not focusing on long-term solutions. Then the other thing about marketing is that it allows you to understand what solutions are you giving to the consumer. They need you. And that's why I said, why do they need you? Why do they pick you? Why the whys, the three whys are very critical. So depending on your budget, it's a small businesses have a consultant, and it's not expensive. Now there's a very few, and people there's a lot of there's Quora. I mean, go to Google and type Quora. Quora is where you can ask all the questions and still get information. Okay. There's a lot of places. Consultation doesn't have to be like me. You come to me, we talk all kinds. No, you can go online. There's a lot of places you can go to and get the consultation you need. And there's a wealth of information online. Okay. Then every activity that you do online, whether it's through an agency, should be tied to a return on investment, whether long-term, short-term, and you have to define what that is because evaluation is very key in marketing. Okay, evaluation. Many people of us, we do not do evaluation at the end of and evaluation can be every month, 3 months. Actually, for small business, every week, daily, every week, 3 months, based on the goals that you have put. And then there's the below the line. Below the line is your posters, networking. Networking is also part of marketing, where you tell me about the product, I tell you about the product, Marketing also determines the pricing and product positioning. Remember, pricing is determined by competition, yes, and by your but also it's dependent. There are so many brands that are very highly priced in this market, and then like their premium brands. Okay, and then product positioning is more in people's minds. How do they perceive you? Why? And it's also that's why it's important to ask yourself the hard questions, and to also go and see and do your own research. And then the last one in terms of marketing is have a strategy that your brand will outlive you. We've seen many brands collapse because they do not have that tendency of looking at, will this brand outlive me? And that's why when you get to a place now, you need professional help. Okay. And then the last one is operations. Operations are still under marketing and sales, and they're very important. Remember, I think I mentioned this. Ignore and they cripple these issues, reevaluate and learn. There's nothing wrong about learning, and there's nothing wrong about making mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. So I finished the marketing. I couldn't go next time. I can do the line and above the line, but above the line is like what Pastor Ken teaches, which is basically your digital, your TV, your radio ads. And if I go to the length of that, it will be very, we will not have time, and I can see time is not on our side. The other thing that I wanted to raise is your below the line. Many small businesses want to do below the line, but below the line is dependent. You need to develop a strategy of what kind of below the line, like what is, let me give an example. I see many people doing flyers in supermarkets. But you know what flyers, because I don't know how to, and I throw it in the next bin. The conversion rate of flyers, for example, is like a good strategy. Whereas maybe someone would have done a wall branding in an area like Kawangware, and you've reached more than 300 people in Chief. That's why strategy is very key. You list the different below the line market. And for example, if you need in-store girls, if you need to go digital because some forms of it is BTL below the line. But this, I think, when above the line and below the line, and see how you can formulate a strategy for each. So for today, allow me, but you can Google. And the last that I was going to discuss is the COVID era, what to do with your business. Number one, I have realized that there is a lot of investment by donors in small businesses, and that you can go and donors, governments, and this you can only get when you get people who are you contacted with rations. My partners and I, we started with rations, and I didn't know about it until we got the letter. I mean, I give God praise. And they wanted someone to represent them in East Africa, in East and Central Africa. They didn't have that. A meeting, and my friend is the one who connected me. So networking is very key when you have businesses, and there are a lot of donors. There's this guy who does from Nigeria who got funding, I think, of so many billions. I will confirm that. But he has a platform of people are able to pay online, pay online, and he got some donors from America. And right now he's making in good money. There's a lot of funding online, but that's why you also have to raise your standards. There's a lot of funding within government arenas and networking. And you can only know this if you're networking, and it's a lot. And online, guys, go online. You will find a lot of information. we hate being on social media. Many people say, I can use it for the good or you can use it for the. So it's important to just try and go and find for information online. And then more have more from Richard Branson. Do not when it grows, leave people to run it. Okay. Like they say, haba na haba hujaza kibaba. This is in COVID era. And then the other thing is be willing to learn. There are so many people who are teaching about business in this COVID era, and they've gone through it, and they also, and there's a lot you can do. There's influencers. There's a lot you can do. There's a lot of business opportunities in this COVID era. And also networking. Many of us Christians, we are afraid of networking. Let me tell you, let me give an example of Daniel. Daniel was very good in network. This is something God taught me. Daniel was one of the kings where he was put, he was running, what do I call them? He was running people who did not honor God. They were under witchcraft, yet he was put in charge of them, and yet he did not defile himself. So it's not wrong. Where God places you, he'll give you the grace to overcome. So be willing to learn. And then tech savvy. I cannot being tech savvy is very important. You have to adapt. In this COVID era, the one thing I leave you with is willing to learn and adapt. Yes. So many businesses are being crippled because they do not know how to operate. You hear COVID and you close your business. Not necessarily. Let me give an example. There's some restaurants that have not closed because people are ordering. Yeah. So and then the last one, the other thing is safety first. The safety of people in right now, of yourself and people, is very key. And then I mentioned. And then the last one is uplift. My biggest business ideas have been born during this COVID season, and that was because I was tired of being broke. Yeah, and the Lord has given me so many insights on what to do, and He has opened doors, big doors. But it's important to network, to ask people questions, to uplift others, and always ask from a higher authority. A higher authority is not necessarily is you look for someone who's in the education. I think I've kept time. Yeah.
So thank you very much, Remy, for taking us through those deep insights on sales and marketing. And guys, I want to tell you this, that next month, that is on May, in the month of May, we'll be having yet another exciting event, courtesy of Startup Grid. And I want you to put the dates that we'll be announcing through our communication platforms and networks. Make sure you preserve those dates and the time so that we can come again for yet a very exciting time. So thank you so much for your great questions. Sorry, we got disconnected somewhere and we were not able to, put up some of the sessions on air, but Google Meet was still functional. And I want to believe that you are now fully satisfied when it comes to the sales and marketing. And I know your business is going to enter into the next level. You'll be able to, sail through despite the COVID-19 pandemic disruptions. And I believe you'll now be in a better position to do better than you had done before. So from me, Kenneth Nyaga, Startup Grid Embu Chapter Director, I just want to wish you God's blessings, wishing you a very wonderful weekend and a very prosperous and successful month of May. Thank you so much. See you again in another day. Bye.